hero Mike Rhodes with the milkshake with the talent.
Earmuffs, bro.
Who said earmuffs, bro? Where's he at? Who's that? Yeah, dude. Congratulations, Mike. God, man, dude. I thought I had a chance, but I guess it's over. I was gonna try to see if Mike was. He would keep standing up like that. We're gonna find friendship. Are you guys ready for your next comedian? Put your hands together for the soldier of comedy, Hurley King.
What's up, what's up, what's up? Woo! Yeah, I see he met his quota again, got one black guy. Hey, I appreciate you. Yeah, I brought some backup though. I brought my brother and his fiance and my son. I brought y'all too, right? Already. Yeah, I'm excited to be here this evening. I think I'm more excited than R. Kelly and Diddy found out there was going to be cellmates. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and sit down on the job because that's what we do. Hey, I got a buddy that worked at the prison that Diddy's in. He told me that Diddy is taking full advantage of the education program. He said Diddy is studying to be a proctologist. You know, that's a booty doctor. So recently I went to visit my 95-year-old grandma. I haven't seen her in 4 years. She had a big sign on her porch that said, "Watch your step," but I didn't pay any attention. So when she opened the door, I ran up the steps, gave her a big hug. I squeezed her so tight, she started kicking and screaming, "Get off me, get off me!" You know, with an attitude, right? So I thought, I thought she was upset with me because I hadn't seen her in a while. So I backed up off her and apologized to her. I said, "I'm sorry, Grandma, did I squeeze you too tight?" She said, "No, you idiot, you were stepping on my nipples." She said, "Did you read the sign? I got these orangutan titties." The moral of the story is reading is fundamental. So I just got back from New York last night. I did a show at Rodney Dangerfield Comedy Club. Woo. Yeah, that was a dream come true, boy, because he always been one of my favorite comedians, him and Richard Pryor. After the show, we went to this fancy restaurant to celebrate our 35th anniversary. Woo. They had our table decorated extremely nice. Y'all should have seen it, boy. They had music, candlelight, flowers, and 35 balloons that said happy anniversary on it, right? And but we noticed this older couple kept staring at us. They looked like they could have been in their 80s, I guess. Later on, they came over and introduced themselves to us. They told us that they were celebrating their 65th anniversary. We said, "Wow, that's amazing, congratulations." They said, "Thank you, but you two, y'all remind us so much of ourselves when we was your age, and y'all make a beautiful couple." We said, "Thank you." Try telling that to our spouses. Speaking of spouses, after 35 years of marriage, I'm finally starting to rub off on mine. Get your mind out the gutter. Ain't say I started to roll one out on you. Well, it's the difference. The reason I say that is because my wife is a very serious person. She don't normally joke around like I do. But the other day I was trying to fabricate a piece of material to go inside of my suit coat pocket. And I told my wife, I said, "I need to find something black and hard to go behind this piece of material." She said, "Good luck with that. I've been trying to find something black and hard for 35 years. They said, "Did I say that out loud?" So my son called his mom for Mother's Day, right? She was asleep, so I answered her phone. I said, "Hello?" He said, "You ain't my mama." I said, "I know it. I ain't your daddy either." That bothered him so much he wanted to take one of those ancestry tests. I don't know about y'all, but I like messing with my son. He's a real smart dude, boy. He just graduated college, magna cum laude. That's 5% of the top of the class, right? He called me one day, he said, "Dad, I'm about to graduate college, magna cum laude." I said, "Congratulations, son. I'm very proud of you." I said, is that Latin for the bottom of the class?" His son said, "Papa, you rude." I said, "You haven't seen rude. One time I threw you in the deep end of the pool and you can't swim." Now that's rude. So my niece came up to the house the other day, unannounced. She just popped up. And my wife and I was at home chilling watching Netflix. My wife still had on her pajamas, I had on old t-shirts and gym shorts, and a pair of Harley Davidson sneakers I purchased online off of Temu. You know, that's the cheap stuff come from China, right? Evidently, the sneakers I had on look like the ones that Kanye West came out with called Yeezys. Have y'all heard of those? They're expensive, aren't they? Yeah. See, I didn't know that until my niece asked me, said, Uncle Herbie, are those Yeezys you wearing? She was serious too. I said, well, it just depends on how much they cost. She said, they're only $600. I said, $600? Hell no, these aren't Yeezys. These Negro pieces for $29.95. My cousin, she upset with me. She got upset with me because all of us was getting ready to go out to dinner. It was me, my wife, my cousin, and her fiance. And my cousin was in her room getting dressed. All of a sudden, I heard her yell out, yo, cuz, can you come here for a minute? So I went to her room. I said, what's up? She said, I need for you to be honest with me, okay? I said, come on, man. That's the only way I know how to be. Lieutenant is my middle name. I live by that. She said, okay. Then she asked me that famous female question. Y'all know the one that all females ask men? She said, does this dress make me look big? I said, no, not at all. As a matter of fact, you make it look small. I haven't seen her hurt myself. But I know one day I'm going to hear from her. You know, I know, because I still owe her $100. That's what I know. I can't believe O.J. Simpson died, boy. I ran into him in Florida one time. He had just got out of prison. He was working at a swap meet selling knives. You know, I bought a knife from him, right? He pulled it to the side and said, look here, young brother. That one don't do the trick. I know this one will. I used this one before myself. He said, it comes with the glove. He said, I had two gloves, but I lost one of them. I haven't seen that glove since 1995. He said, now that I think about it, I think Johnny Cochran must have hid that glove. So when I was 10 years old, I was a bad little kid, boy. I was so bad, my parents had to homeschool me. And once a week, they would send me to this private school. I didn't like it too much, though, because the teacher was mean as a drill sergeant. I remember the first day of school, the teacher told me, said, Hurley King, I want you to come in, sit your narrow behind down, shut up, and open your book. I was terrified. I said, who's this teacher? And what kind of school is this? Well, come to find out years later, I was going to Sunday school. That was the deacon up there talking crazy. They said he did 3 tours in Vietnam and he was having flashbacks. Growing up in the ghetto was rough. I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois, so I grew up fast. And I went to all black school. That's different than going to integrated school, because in all black school, you have to be ready to fight all day, every day. And I went to school with some pretty big dudes, boy. Most of them had facial hair already. And this was in grade school. I didn't know if I was fighting teachers or students, right? But there's things around here that y'all take for granted. For instance, y'all go to the bathroom. Y'all have real signs on y'all doors, don't you? That say men and women. We didn't have that. Somebody wrote ours in with a permanent marker. They misspelled words and stuff. You ain't know which door to go in with. I remember one time when I was in the 5th grade, I ended up going in the mock closet. There was 2 dudes in there shooting dice. And one dude said, he said, close the door, you little nappy headed thing, before you get us busted. You get us busted, I'll kick your butt. And that was the principal. I guess he'll lead by example, right? But see, y'all don't have those kind of problems, because y'all signs clearly say men, women, and others, or guys, gals, and others. Not ours. I said pimps, hoes, and tricks. They spelled the word hoes wrong. They spelled H-O-S-E. You know, for that, you'll get sprayed out with a water hose. So when I was a drill sergeant in the Army, I used to love playing tricks on the new recruits, right? I remember one time we was at the gun range. We had just got to qualifying the soldiers with their weapons. And we was waiting on transportation to come pick us up and take us back to the barracks. But they called and told us they was running about 45 minutes late because one of the cattle trucks broke down. That's how they used to transport us around, right? They used to stuff us in there like sardines. They'll say, make your buddy smile, you know. But, so anyway, I said, okay, no problem. I just passed time by messing with the soldiers. So I told him, I said, Private, I got bad news. We missing 10 rounds of ammunition, and if we don't find it, I have to call the MP so they can lock down the base. They're not going to let anybody on or off the base. Then we have to do a cavity search on each and every one of them. I said, you see this building behind me? You're going to take it one at a time. You got to strip butt, booty naked. You're going to bend over, spread your butt cheeks apart, and we're going to run our hands between your butt cheeks like a credit card. I said, but before we go through all that, I'm going to give you 10 minutes to find the ammo. Time starts now. Go. Probably taking off their Kevlars, checking them out. They checking the pockets on their uniform like they looking for a cigarette or something. I said, probably 5 minutes has elapsed. You have 5 minutes remaining. Now the private starting to get antsy, and you can hear him talking. And you always had that one private that think he could whoop everybody. You know that alpha male? You hear him say, y'all got the ammo, turn it in. Y'all always doing stupid stuff. They do a cavity search of me, I'm gonna kick y'all butt. I said, private, time's up. I said, look, I hate to see y'all get in any trouble. If we catch y'all with any ammo on you after today, we gonna lock you up in confinement for 5 years. Then we gonna kick you out the army with dishonorable discharge. That's a felony. You won't be able to get a job anywhere. So I'm gonna give you one last opportunity to take 2 steps forward and turn the ammo in with no repercussion. The alpha private took 2 steps forward. I said, good. Somebody with some integrity around here. I said, Private Williams, you have any ammo to turn in? He said, no, drill sergeant. I said, well, why the hell you get out of formation? He said, because I want to go first, drill sergeant. I said, why do you want to go first, Private Williams? He said, and I quote, he said, because y'all gonna stick y'all hands up all they booties. I don't want y'all sticking y'all hands up mine. I said, wrong answer. Get your behind that. We're gonna have alphabetical order. You understand me, Private Williams? So since I retired from the military, I've noticed they changed their rules and regulations. Because now I'm starting to see a lot of overweight soldiers wearing beards and goatees. When I was in the military, we could wear beards and goatees, but now everybody's wearing them. Hell, I ran to a person the other day that had a nice goatee. He had the handlebar mustache, the color on the end, and everything. I asked myself, how you get your goatee to look like that? She said. So, a really good friend of mine from Los Angeles, California came to visit me last month. Real cool white dude. He's so cool, we gave him a nickname. No, he gotta be cool. Black people give you a nickname. We nicknamed him Al, short for albino. He reminded me of that comedian Gary Owens because he loves sisterhoods. That's all he talked about. When he came to visit, we hung out at the mall. Now I try to talk to every sister he's seen. Later on, he wanted to go to Foot Locker to try to find a pair of Air Force Ones to match up the LeBron James jersey. So we went to Foot Locker, and this beautiful sister named Felicia was working there. She was drop dead gorgeous, boy. Al jumped right on her. He had her smiling and giggling and everything. For a minute, I thought he was going to get lucky. Then all of a sudden, Felicia dropped a bombshell on him. She said, I can't date you. He said, why not? She said, because I'm looking for a man with 9 inches of rock hard pleasure between his legs, and I'm not going to settle for anything else. I know exactly what I need. Al said, 9 inches, huh? She said, yep, 9 inches and nothing less. Al looked her up and down and said, Felicia, you fine as hell, but I'm not cutting 2 inches off with nobody. Felicia said, wait, what? Al said, bye, Felicia. Hey, one more joke and I'm gone, all right? All right, so when I retired from the military, I got a job as an instructor in a company that hired me on hire retired military guys. They paid us very well. We traveled all over the country teaching the Army and the Marines how to do their jobs. What I like about the job is on our lunch break, some of us go to the break room, play cards and dominoes, and talk trash to one another. Now, everybody knows when you get 2 or more black people together, we get pretty loud, can't we? Come on, white people, y'all know that. Just imagine 15 of us. We sound like the Trump supporters storming the Capitol building. Or we may just talk about the different disabilities that we develop from war, things like Agent Orange, PTSD, cancer, radiation, and all the other stuff that's killing us. So now we're trying to get compensated for it. And our goal is to get 100% because that's what we deserve. We got this one guy on our team, he's been stuck on 90% for 10 years, and he had one of his legs blown off in Iraq. Now, don't y'all think you deserve 100%? Yeah. So do I. But he's pretty much giving up on it. He said if he ever gets it, he's going to quit that job and stay on the fish because he loves to fish. But he's one of the funniest guys on our team, though. I remember one day I went to the break room that at work playing spades and dominoes, talking trash. He seen me, he said, what's up, King? Tell me something good. I said, man, you're not going to believe this article I just read. He said, you got that right, because we all know you can't read. He said, ain't that right, fellas? I said, no, man, our jokes aside, this is going to benefit everybody right here. He said, well, tell it to us then, brother. I said, the article said, if you've been diagnosed with erectile dysfunction, you may qualify for additional 15% for LBDS. He jumped up on the table and said, I got that! I know I got that! That's gonna put me over the top right there, goddamn. He said, finally, I'll get my 100%, I'll quit this job and stay on that fish all day. This other dude said, King, what is LBDS? I said, little bitty dick syndrome. Hey, that's my time, y'all. My name is Henry. Give it up for your host, Nick Campbell.
Keep it going for the soldier of comedy, Hurley King. Thank you guys so much. Hey, give it up for Hurley one more time. We love bringing him out.